In 2014, there was The Fault in Our Stars, the romantic drama that had everyone leaving the theater in tears. Now, enter Dil Bechara, the Bollywood adaptation of the novel by John Green. Dil Bechara, or The Helpless Heart, stars Sanjana Sanghi and the late Sushant Singh Rajput as two lovers who make their way to each other during difficult times. Directed by Mukesh Chhabra, the movie follows Kizie Basu, played by Sanjana, a college student who dreams of meeting her favorite musician, Immanuel Rajkumar Junior, aka Manny, played by the late Sushant. In the film, both characters navigate the youthful beauties of life, all while dealing with the tragedies looming over every scene. They share stories of how cancer has affected their lives, and soon blossoms a beautiful friendship. The movie is based on The Fault in Our Stars, yes, but it truly takes good cinema and creates a whole new layered love story. Set in Jamshedpur, this beautifully tragic film is a must-see. Kizie Basu has thyroid cancer, lives with a smile and fortitude, rendering her bound to her trusty oxygen tank of which she is named Pushpinder. Manny has osteosarcoma, which is currently in remission, lives with a constant laugh and all the spirit of a young child, and yet the heart of someone mature and wise. What makes this already tragic film an even more tragic watch is the fact that the leading man Sushant passed away before the release of the film at 34 years of age from suspected suspected murder in mid-June. Bollywood mourned for the incredibly talented actor, saying he was far ahead of the game. As Dil Bechara marked Rajput's final project, the film now takes on an even heavier tone. Imagine the aching vacuum that Sushant Singh Rajput left for the cast and crew of Dil Bechara at the news of his tragic death. Imagine the fans in their distress or relief of watching their idol on screen for the very last time in a new film. The premiere of Dil Bechara on Disney's Hotstar immediately became a fan favorite. On top of that, the film was made available for free all over the world, as a tribute to its star. Piercing through headlines debating the potential of foul play in Sushant's death, or ones discussing his new movie, Dil Bechara, released June 24th on Hotstar. The huge Bollywood star Sushant starred in this remake of The Fault in Our Stars, was a huge fan of stargazing and owned a telescope, and now a fan has named a star in honor of the star. Get your head around that when you can. With this article, we aim to focus on a thoughtful review of the film as well as the saga surrounding Sushant. Remember, our review on the film is leaning towards the fact that this film has a larger sentimental significance than just being a movie due to traumatic issues surrounding its release. The film has been told beautifully with masterful performances, hence the slight structural issues can be ignored due to its immense connection with fans worldwide. This is the first directorial venture from one of the leading casting directors in Bollywood, Mukesh Chhabra. At Hollywood Insider, we do not review everything. We only review those films/TV shows that we believe people should watch. We never review something to tear it down. We believe in building someone up rather than tearing them down. If we do not like a movie/TV show, then we do not review it. Dil Bechara is definitely worth a watch and a sensitively poignant film by first-time director Mukesh Chhabra. Dil Bechara Sanjana. Without giving too much away, seriously go watch for yourself on www.hotstar.com/US, available for free as a tribute to Sushant. We first meet Kizie Basu, a young college student living with thyroid cancer. She wants to be a normal girl doing normal things, like crying over boys and gossiping with friends. Sanjana's commanding presence on screen is enough for the audience to realize that Kizie is far tougher than her diagnosis would have one assume. Kizie often visits strangers' funerals to give out hugs and condolences. She can't bear to see people around her suffering, and never stands idly by when she can relieve someone else's pain. It's Sanjana's brilliance that enables her to discover a well of vulnerable strength in Kizie.
Abla nahi hu, Bengali hu. Bengali ladkiyan bahut khatarnak hoti hain.
One whose depth can only be explained as a reflection of Sanjana as a person. Underneath layers of trials and tribulations is Kizie's great fortitude. Though she is in pain, she continues on, if not for herself, then at least for her loved ones. As this is Sanghi's first leading role, she plays her emotions well, letting each scene feel realistic and not too strained. Dil Bechara's Manny. Sushant's characterization of Immanuel is heart-wrenching. Despite his cancer, Manny trudged on with a carefree grin. His love for Kizie Basu superseded all of life's hardships, no matter how silly his affection might have seemed. Immanuel's heart's strong adventurousness colored every scene he appeared in with youthful glow. If you think back on Augustus Waters, you might remember the ever-so-charming personality he flaunted. He seemed to be fueled by happiness, and Rajput gives new life to the already amazing role. Even the most tragic moments in Dil Bechara were sparkled with Immanuel's smiles and laughter. The parallels between Sushant and the character he so excellently crafted are impossible to ignore. Sushant also walked in blissful adventurousness during his time on Earth, his Mumbai home's crown jewel being a professional-grade telescope, which he calls his time machine.
By the way, this is my time machine.
How ironic that Sushant gazes at stars in his spare time, when to so many fans around the world, he was one of the purest and brightest stars to ever grace Bollywood. The plot that breaks your heart with its closeness to Sushant Singh Rajput's real and real-life farewell. As the film treks on, the pair grow closer and closer. They find refuge in each other's problems, successes, fears, and admirations. Though some could argue this film had too much looming over it with the original 2014 adaptation, I think the heart of this movie is different. Sure, the original story remains similar, but these are two different characters in completely different culture. The passion of Manny is palpable, and the way the two main characters emotionally intertwine is truly something amazing to watch. Though we know how the story ends. John Green, how dare you. Its much bigger lesson comes from the baby steps. The bond of Kizie and Manny, the little things they do to step out of their comfort zones. Whoever said it's the little things in life, I get it now. Every scene, even the happy fleeting ones, really make you stop and take stock of what's important in this life. I highly recommend grabbing some tissues before you sit down for this one. An amazing cast. This film really would play a whole different tune if it weren't for the actors. Sanjana Sanghi's breakout role as Kizie is heartfelt and strong. At just 23 years old, she's absolutely one to watch. She plays Kizie with a great sense of maturity for a character that has truly been through so much more than a normal teen experiences day to day. And of course, the ever-so-lovable Manny, played by Sushant Singh Rajput. It is easy to tell that Rajput was the type of actor to give their all to a project. His performance leaves no stone unturned, as he plays Manny with incredible wit and edge. He is persistent, kind, and never really stops giving. Some characteristics I imagine Rajput to have had in real life as well. You could say that teenage romance movies are a dime a dozen, but Dil Bechara speaks volumes. It's fascinating how you can find bits of Hazel and Augustus within these characters, yet they create an entirely brand new world all at the same time. There's something raw and vulnerable about it that draws you in, even though the story has been told. Kizie and Manny feel less like two random characters and more like two old friends whose love story you've heard a million times, yet it never gets old. Everyone can relate to being opposites, or maybe finding the right person at the not-so-right time. This film takes those familiar feelings and places them in the hands of two characters that harness so much power and courage. The film's title track, Song's video, was filmed in one take, which is proof of Sushant Singh Rajput's brilliance as an actor and dancer, as per choreographer Farah Khan. The title track is a product of genius and Academy Award winner A.R. Rahman. Sushant's final tribute in real life. Watching Immanuel Rajkumar Junior live his life to the fullest while grappling with his mortality revealed a litany of teachings. In the context of Sushant's death, every lesson in the movie is magnified and made startlingly tangible. The last scene, so brilliantly done, shows Kizie watching Manny in the film they made, as well as the actress Sanjana/director Chhabra and the millions of fans watching Sushant in his last performance on film, a literal goodbye to Sushant himself. In one of the most revealing scenes about Immanuel, the character states, "But I'm a fighter and I fought well, and sir, I want to act. I want to be a real-life hero."
और आगे सर, मैं बिल्कुल रिच की तरह बनना चाहता हूँ. मतलब विलेन को मारना चाहता हूँ, हीरोइन को बचाना चाहता हूँ और उसके लिए जान देना चाहता हूँ. मतलब एकदम ऐसे ही बनना चाहता हूँ.
For his fans, the character Immanuel must have floated away in this scene, as these same words could have just as easily been spoken by Sushant himself. Indeed, he was a true hero, a fighter down to the end, a real-life shooting star. Sadly, shooting stars are only with us for a brief period of time. While they are here, they dazzle the world with everyone's attention on them, but they leave as quickly as they arrived. Sushant Singh Rajput's shadow over Bollywood. For some, his death was the last straw for an industry that often leans into corruption. Many celebrities have denounced Bollywood's complicit barriers against outsiders/actors who are not kids of famous stars/directors.
Being an outsider, we have of course suffered from nepotism and favoritism and
including Bollywood's #1 actress, Kangana Ranaut, who happens to be an outsider herself.
Kangana said that the industry treated Sushant unfairly and that he did not get his due despite his intelligence, a series of strong performances, and box office success.
Hopefully Sushant's death will not be in vain, and Bollywood will work together with celebrities and fans to establish a more fair, healthy, and welcoming industry instead of a high school clique, or Beverly Hills Housewives reality show environment. On June 14th, mere hours after a phone call with his sister and later TV star Mahesh Shetty, Sushant Singh Rajput was found hanging, allegedly, in his Bandra home, cause of death deemed an alleged suicide. His untimely death has sent a global wave of heartache as one of Bollywood's most treasured actors' time was cut short. Fans worldwide are distressed and perplexed at what could have led someone with such zest for life to suicide. Bollywood is deeply established on nepotism. Because of that, it is challenging for someone outside of the entertainment family empire to break through. Sushant was one of the few highly successful outsiders in Bollywood. He was talented enough for BAFTA-winning director Shekhar Kapoor to offer him the leading man role in his film Pani. and for Bollywood's #1 director, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, to offer him the leading man role in multiple movies. Some other successful outsiders happen to be Ayushmann Khurrana, Kangana Ranaut, Priyanka Chopra, Madhuri Dixit, Manisha Koirala, Akshay Kumar, etc.
The fact that if you just don't, if you allow new talents from outside to flourish and encourage them, then there's no problem with nepotism. But if you don't allow that, then there's a problem, and I think that the whole structure of the industry would collapse.
Sushant's entry into the industry was the pride of his hometown, Maldiya, and anyone from anywhere who dared to dream big. He was not born into this industry. That minuscule component of his story was enough to set him down a path of great adversity. What makes Bollywood a world so unfair to the outsider so much isn't just the dynasties and cliques. It is essentially the fact that it is a brutally competitive game with no umpires, adjudicators, or whistleblowers, says the print. Sushant was a symbol of the possibility of change in Bollywood. When his death was deemed a suicide, social media was outraged as they believed that there is foul play, and Sushant was possibly murdered. Foul play and murder have not been proven yet. The hashtag #CandleForSSR had over 1 million hits as fans worldwide called for the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, to take over Sushant's case. However, the calls all around the world for an investigation of potential murder have led to no avail. As of July 25th, the Mumbai's police verdict on Sushant's death is still suicide. Was it foul play? Was it suicide? Was it murder? Call to action. #Sushanting. A fan of Sushant's has requested, every time we do something inspired by Sushant Singh Rajput, whether we are reading or stargazing, learning something new, or just fulfilling any dream and want to share it on social media, let us use the #Sushanting. Let's work on a global community of like-minded people who would like to carry forward his legacy and stay inspired. We at Hollywood Insider will always admire Sushant Singh Rajput for his talent, magic, and humanity, and would like to pay our heartfelt condolences to Sushant's family, friends, and fans all over the world. Cinema will keep the memory of Sushant alive for generations to come. Sushant was truly a bright star, and his legendary life will continue on in the love and hearts of millions of admirers all over the world.